what happened here is it reached out, downloaded update.bat, saved it as update.bat on the system, and executed it. When it executed it, decoded it, and now we have a desktop. So we can type hostname. This is client 01, and client 01 does not have Elastic SIEM, but Windows Defender is not complaining, as you can see here. Hello and welcome to IT Security Labs. Today we're going to bypass Windows Defender using PowerShell, PowerCat, and then we use an HTA file to load that, make sure that we can actually simulate a phishing attack or something that a real attacker would do. As always, this is just for educational purposes, but here are the tools that we're using. We'll be using this GitHub repo here with PowerCat, and PowerCat is like the netcat in the Windows world. So it has been around for a while. As you can see, this is 6 years old, and it has a few options. We can generate an encoded payload, which is what we'll be doing today. And then here's the workflow that we'll be going through. We have PowerCat reverse shell from that GitHub, which will generate an base64 encoded payload for us. We'll put that PowerCat into an HTA file. So we'll tell an HTA file to download our PowerCat from Kali, the attacker. So there'll be the download functionality, and the HTA file will also run that PowerCat here. And then after it runs, we'll get a reverse shell. This is our lab environment. We have two clients. We have a Windows 10 machine with just Defender updated. And then we have a second client with Windows Defender and also Elastic SIEM. And that's how we're getting this data right here, because we have Elastic SIEM running and agent is running on both of those. Here's our attacker Kali machine. To save time, I already have a command here. So let's copy it and put it in a new location. Let's go maybe to the temp. Okay, in the temp, we'll make PowerCat a folder. In here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, hey, let's use Kali's PowerShell. So if you don't have PowerShell already installed on your Kali, you should do so. And what I want to do is I want to use IEX to just download it straight from GitHub. We'll download it from GitHub and immediately run PowerCat and give it the syntax. If you read on the documentation, it says PowerCat -C. Then this is the IP address of our Kali Linux machine. The port that we want to use. Okay, let's leave it with 443 for now. Then we'll want it to run a command prompt. Then GE is generate encoded payload, which is base64 encoded payload. Instead of naming it rev.bat, let's name it update.bat so that it looks like it's an update, Windows update. And this will generate a base64 encoded file. So cat update.bat. This is all the base64 encoded stuff. If we want to decode it, we can just pipe it base64 -D. And here it is with our IP address and our port, and that is running command line. So this kind of looks like Nisheng reverse shell. I bet you Nisheng also works the same way if we encoded it, just like this. So now that we have our payload, update.bat, we just did the first step here. Now it needs to be in an HTA runner file, because we need to make sure that it actually runs. And this HTA file is what we're going to use for loading our stuff. So it needs the ability to download PowerCat and also to run PowerCat on the victim using PowerShell. And this assumes that PowerShell is not restricted on your victim. So for those going for the OSEP, PowerShell is likely going to be restricted, but this is an easy, quick check to see if you can get a simple reverse shell. And this HTA was just my choice today. You can use a Word document here, an Excel document, a JavaScript loader, any type of loader that's going to give you the ability. Okay, so our HTA is going to look like this. So I have run.hta here. So what we're going to have here is a simple HTA file. You can find any samples online. And what it's going to do is we want it to run a shell. And this is what you send as a link to the victim if you are trying to do a pen test here. So you say, hey, PowerShell, invoke web request and give me from the URI, which should be the IP address of your Kali Linux machine, and the path the name of the file, which is rev.bat. We'd like you to output that to C Windows tasks update.bat. I like to put in tasks. Sometimes people will put it in temp. Sometimes people will use C users public, whatever, wherever you put it, as long as it works. So it will be named update.bat once it's outputted there. And then I actually used Atom. So let me show you in a nicer tab here. Here's Atom. We're saying a PowerShell, download it Windows.bat, put it in task, and immediately run PowerShell, and then decode it. So give it an encoded command and get content from where we dropped it, see Windows.bat raw. So this will run it and we'll get our reverse shell. Before we get this HTA to the victim, we need to host it on our server somehow so that the victim can download it. We also need to host our PowerCat. So our PowerCat is in our temp folder here, and so is our run.hta, Python on port 80. So we are hosting this as a server. Now we just need to download this on the victim machines and run it. Okay, so coming here on our first client, this one just says Windows Defender, no Elastic SIM. I'm just using SCP to download that file and put it on my desktop here. You can deliver this using an email or a browser or whatever means. You might find that if you send this through an email, especially this HTA file, it might get flagged because email scanning is a thing. And Google Chrome might complain about this HTA file as well. So you might want to zip it, put a password, whatever you do, make sure that it bypasses that. But our main goal here is to bypass Defender and Elastic SIM EDR. So let's see what happens here. All right, so it doesn't like what I have. Let's see. Oh, it's in temp. Let's give it a password. All right, so here's my run.hta. If I click on that run.hta, it should reach out here and download the file. And immediately after it downloads the file, that file should be ran because that's what the HTA file is doing. So I need a listener on 443. So this is not going to be a full Metapredator shell, but you can then use this shell to disable Defender and make sure that your Metapredator shells get there if you're going for the OS EP or whatever. So if I just convince a person to double click on this run.hta, it's going to bring up PowerShell. I guess we could have said do not open this and hide it, but for now, nothing matches the given URI. Okay, so let's go check our run.hta. Why is it complaining? HTTP 192.168. So what we need to fix here, because it's not finding rev.bat, is we need to name it update. That's what it's named. So it's not rev. So let's fix that. So it will be update.bat, and it will output it to update.bat, as you can see. So now let's save that and start our listener. And let's go and run it again. So first what we need to do is we need to delete the actual file that we had. So I deleted it from my desktop. And let's get a new copy of the one that actually works. So we need to go to our temp folder, make sure that we are hosting that file. So we're hosting it, start our listener, 443. Okay, now let's run it. Just double click. This is where you convince someone to click on your email. And as you can see, we kind of have a blunder here. We should have put the flag to hide this in PowerShell, but let's move on. And when you come back here, we get a reverse shell. And also, what happened here is it reached out, downloaded update.bat, saved it as update.bat on the system, and executed it. When it executed it, decoded it, and now we have a desktop. So we can type hostname. This is client 01, and client 01 does not have Elastic SIM, but Windows Defender is not complaining. As you can see here, it's just out there. So we were able to bypass Windows Defender, no problem. Next, just hide this thing here. Okay, now let's move on to our second client. This one has Elastic SIM and also Windows Defender. So we have Elastic Security and Windows Defender running here. So let's download a new copy, like what we did on the other one. This run file here needs to go. Let's download a new one. Okay. Give it a password. And now we have our run file here. If we double click on that, here's PowerShell. And we get a get. This time we got update.bat. This is on the second client, client 2. That's very important to know. And then when we go here, oh, we forgot our listener. Let's see if we can catch it. It should still keep trying. I've seen it do this. Okay. So I guess we'll come back here. Let's run it again. It will try to reach out and download, but also execute the local copy. And here we go. Host name, this should be client 02, which is whatever this desktop name here is. Who am I? Net user. Okay, we know that this works. And we are on Windows Client 02. Now let's go ahead and check Elastic Security. Did we catch that? Even though Defender was bypassed and the Elastic Security in the format that it is on right now, it's actually set so that it should detect and stop. So it's a full EDR. And by the way, both Windows machines here have Defender enabled. So we can go to security. Because there might be some people in the comments saying, hey, we didn't see that Windows Defender was enabled. So it's saying turn on here because I disabled submitting samples, but real-time protection is there. Cloud delivered protection is there. The one thing that I don't have is automatic submission, but everything else should be enabled as well. So both machines have Defender definitions updated, and we still have our shell here. Let's check our Elastic Security machine. So this is going to be my Kali Pepper VM running in ESXi. Sign in. So here you see that we are looking in the last hour. If I refresh this, did we see anything interesting? All right. So the rules that only fire, of course, is the who am I command that I just ran. And we also have execution from unusual directory. I also have a tab here where we can search for the traffic that was destined for my Kali Linux machine. So destination IP in Kibana, I just went to discover. I can refresh this. It's looking in the last 15 minutes. We saw a few commands here. This is all the traffic that was destined for my Kali, but let's say, and maybe destination port. Destination port, let's look for 443. This should show me the actual reverse shell. And as you can see, there we go. Let's check it out. So we have multiple fields here. So this is for port 443. All right, it was a connection to this IP address to the Kali attacker machine on destination port 443. It thought it was HTTPS. No wonder why nothing triggered. Okay. Do they have any more information that might be interesting? So this was from Sysmon. Great job there, Sysmon. That could have been an alert if everything was put together, because this was triggered by PowerShell. So let's check this one out as well. It was a connection to that same port. Let's check to port 80. For port 80, this is when we were downloading our HTA file. So let's see, did we see anything going to port 80? Okay, network detection, connection was detected. All right, it was by the user Vagrant. Okay, What about something.hta? Did we see our HTA file being downloaded? So it should be downloaded from our machine, and I like this one better. This is awesome. So PowerShell, of course, Windows PowerShell operational gave us this log. Pretty cool. And here we go. So looking through Kibana, we can see that we ran the command to download update.bat, and this update.bat file was also executed using PowerShell decode. So that's how we were able to get our reverse shell using this PowerShell script block here. So our detection is really working very well here. So we were able to identify our traffic in here. Unfortunately, the reverse shell was actually not seen even in our current rules. So what this means is we should come in here and quickly generate some rules to detect that. But also let's look at execution from unusual directory. That's the rule that fired. Let's look at that alert to see what's going on here. Okay, so what they did not like here is that we executed from Windows tasks folder. So see Windows tasks update.bat. This is where the one that we ran. So we identified a weird folder that we were using, but that's about it. That's what alerted, nothing else. Otherwise, if you like this, please let me know in the comments. Like this video, share with everybody. Otherwise, thank you very much for being here, and I hope to see you next time.